What's good, YouTube? This is Boxingwave. Finally gonna speak on this Errol Spence situation. So if you don't know, Errol took to his Instagram account, made a video. He was basically getting pushed around in a wheelchair with his right eye covered. And he made a comment saying, finally got this cataract surgery out the way. And then he went on to say, why do you think I got hit with so many jabs in that fight? Basically referencing to the Terrence Crawford fight. All right. And then he took to Twitter and, he hasn't been on social media. I actually went back and checked after he made the post. He hasn't really been on social media at all since the loss of Crawford, barely posted since then. And he went to Twitter and he left a bunch of tweets, responding to some people. And two of the tweets, one was saying that he wasn't exactly living his life as a boxer. So he was due to get an ass whipping, And then he made another tweet about the transgender fighting, transgenders fighting male-born transgenders fighting females in boxing. And he stated on his opinion on that. But we're here to really talk about the eye surgery and Terrence Crawford. A lot of things that I'm about to say I've already said about Errol Spence in the past, especially with what his comment about not living his life as a boxer. I don't even think that he ever fought at his full potential. We can sit there and break down like the styles and what he does wrong in the ring and all of that, but I don't think he ever fought at his full potential. You know what I mean? He fought very, very good, and he fought some really good fighters. But I think he could have been better. But that's his own fault, and it's not like he's not taking accountability for it. I mean, in some ways he's not. But his fans, and I don't even know if I should call them fans, because a lot of them are not really fans of his. A lot of them don't like Crawford. And a lot of them are just new people that are delusional. They came to YouTube or whatever, or Twitter, and they were told that Errol Spence was being ducked by Terrence Crawford. They were being lied to for the last 4 or 5 years about why this fight wasn't taking place. And they were led to believe that all this time that Errol Spence was, or Terrence Crawford was ducking Errol Spence. And that now that Errol has lost the fight, a lot of these people think he lost because Crawford picked the right time to fight him, and knowing that he had all of these injuries, right? And that's what's being pushed, even after the fight. So it's all about the timing. So the accident and the surgeries and the second car accident and the delays, all of that was planned by Terrence Crawford, and he gets no credit for the win because it was all about the perfect timing to fight Spence at his worst. This is what people are leading the other people, the blind leading the blind. So, as far as Errol and his comments, I do agree with him not living the life of a boxer, blowing up in between fights. I said this about many other fighters, including him. And even though his work rate was phenomenal throughout his career, and still phenomenal, even after, the car accident and all of that stuff, he could have been better. He could have been better. But he was still very good. And as far as making the excuse that he caught so many jabs, look, man, if you can't fight, you can't fight. I know you sacrifice yourself getting in the ring and getting that big check, but if you can't fight, you can't fight. If you're not in a position, I said this recently about Shakur Stevenson. After the fight with De Los Santos, I think he made it a couple comments and tweets saying that he wasn't 100%. But after it was over and we got that performance, you can't get mad at the world being angry at your performance. People that showed up paid to see a fight and they didn't get that from neither of you. And the same thing with Spence here. Spence won that fight. Like many people believed he was going to win. People would have been praising him. People would have been shitting on Crawford even more because he lost the fight. But there's people that believed that Crawford was going to win that way for years. You have channels like Boxing Gyms that they're showing content on the flaws between the two fighters. And none of these flaws, none of the fighters that Spence fought was able to exploit any of these flaws. You know what I mean? And so when we see the fight and what we always thought actually happened, it's like, okay, this is what we expected. Now, Crawford did it a little easier than what I thought. I thought it wouldn't be that easy. It happened to be that easy, But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. The fight is the fight. This fight should have happened years ago. At the end of the day, Spence was the guy that was saying, you're not on a list when they had that face-to-face at that boxing event years back. It was like 4 or 5 years ago when Spence was telling Crawford to his face when they were both in their primes, before eye surgeries, before car accidents, before Crawford was 36 years old. Spence was saying to his face that he's now on a schedule, that he was going to take the easy route and fight Sean Porter. This man said it then. The fight could have happened then. Some of these fighters that are with the PBC, like Sean Porter, like Keith Thurman, like Danny Garcia, at one point, they weren't eager to fight Errol Spence when Spence was calling them out. At one point, when they were champions, they were looking to fight each other. Porter was more willing to fight Danny and Thurman. These guys, Errol was right there, but Errol, he was the guy coming up. Let's just be honest. But there was a guy that moved to 147 and picked up a title in his first fight that was willing to fight Errol Spence then. And a lot of these fighters, including Errol Spence, would say, Bud, you come up here, you pick up a belt first. But when he picked up a belt, these guys didn't want to fight him. There's all this wrong side of the street. And remember when Errol said that, you had people cheering in the crowd. They loved it then. But now when Bud beats him, oh, you waited. You waited for the right time to beat Errol when he's not. These people are not boxing fans, man. And you know what? You got to stop entertaining them at this point. His delusion has been on an all-time high when it comes to boxing fans. As far as Errol Spence and his eye, he's already said, when I heard the news, I said that maybe he should retire. And I said that because you've already made a lot of money. You already had 2 eye surgeries recently. I'm not no eye doctor or anything like that, but risking going blind is not worth whatever check they're willing to pay you. If someone said to me today, I'll give you $1 billion, but you have to be blind for the rest of your life, I'm going to turn down the $1 billion. I want my vision. I want to, with that $1 billion, I need to be able to see what I'm doing to enjoy it. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, Errol is not me. Errol is the one that's going to see those doctors. I don't know if those doctors are telling them, if they're saying that it's completely safe for you to box with these eye surgeries that you had, then I can get why Errol would want to continue fighting. As a fan, I wanted him to continue fighting because I don't want this loss to be his story, like the rest of his career. So as a fan, I would love to see what he's still willing to do at 154. I mean, 154 is shaping up to be a pretty interesting division. It's always been loaded, but I think him moving to 154 would make it even better. Virgil Ortiz Jr. just moved up there, and he's already calling out Tim Tszyu. So there's a lot of fights that can still be made. But I think I would like to see Errol continue fighting. I don't think I'm not interested in a rematch with Bud Crawford, especially at the timing now. That's the one question that I wanted to bring up. I forgot about that. Why wait so long? Maybe this has been already answered, but why wait so long for the cataract surgery? The fight was last July. We're in January of the next year. What were you doing for the last 6, 7 months? Like, why the surgery now? Because we're waiting for this PBC schedule to be announced. We're waiting for news on a rematch. We don't want to continue letting these two get held up, having one fight a year. Especially with Crawford. This is part of the reason why people say he didn't deserve Fighter of the Year, because he only fought once. So we're in January now. It's been 6 months since we last seen the both of you in the ring. We haven't had the fight has not been announced, and the sport is popping right now. It's like we're getting fights left and right. So what's going on? You just got out of eye surgery. Is this going to delay the rematch even further? Does Crawford have to continue waiting for you in your eye to get better before you guys fight in a rematch? Like, what's going on? Why is this delayed? I would get like a couple months, just healing and relaxing and just enjoying and spending family time. But this should have been done last year, unless this has been answered already. I don't know. But from what I've seen, Spence and his comments, why wait so long to get this surgery done, especially when we feel that the fight should be announced soon if you're going to do the rematch. If this guy is locked in into a rematch deal with you, what's the wait up? Hopefully for me, I wish the fight would not happen next, because the fight is meaningless now because of Spence fans, or so-called Spence fans specifically. They gave up on Spence. And Spence knew the deal before the fight. You can tell from his tweets before the fight that people were just riding off his name, getting hot off his name. They weren't really supporting him. They just hated Bud. They hated Bud. They didn't really support Spence. Same with Bud. A lot of Bud fans are not really Crawford fans. A lot of Crawford fans are just Spence haters or PBC haters. When it comes to Crawford and anything unrelated to the PBC, they're not so supportive of him. I've noticed that over the years. But I've noticed that with a lot of fighters. So it's fake love. And the thing with Spence, he's realizing that people are writing him off. People are saying now that Crawford is ducking Boots Ennis. Even these people are not Boots Ennis fans. They are Spence fans that are pissed off because they don't believe in Spence anymore because of him losing. And now they're using Boots Ennis as the new guy because they're pissed off that Spence lost the fight. Even though all the way up until the fight, they thought he would win because they don't watch boxing. They don't watch boxing. A lot of people called it the way that it went down. You know what I mean? I mean, Crawford was the damn favorite to win. Slight favorite, but he was still a favorite. So when he lost, people were shocked, and they just moved on to the next guy, which is Boots Ennis. And as much as I actually want to see that fight at 147, Crawford does not have to fight him. If Crawford decides to fight Keith Thurman or go to 154 or go to 160 or continue trying to push a Canelo fight, he's well within his rights to do it. But if he stays at 147, I want to see the Boots fight. But I understand as a boxing fan, I'm not going to always get what I want. And I ain't going to believe it's a duck because Boots had the opportunity to fight Crawford already. I don't think Boots was doing everything in his power to get that fight. You know what I mean? So, look, man, when it comes to Errol, if he's going to continue fighting, hopefully he does it safely. Hopefully he gets the okay from the doctors to do it. I don't want the man to go blind. And I would like to see what he can do at 154 without having to drain himself. And I would like to see him live his life as a boxer because he claims, like I claim and many others claim, he doesn't live his life as a boxer. And it finally caught up to him because he fought a really good boxer. He said it himself. A lot of things that people were arguing, Spence has proved them wrong. This is what I mean about his fake fans. Spence is saying one thing and his fans are saying another. They're not fans. They're just haters of another fighter. That's all. Or they just promote anything PBC. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this whole situation, man. Hope Spence gets better with his eye if he is going to fight. If he's not going to get better, he should really consider retirement. It's not worth getting blind. All right. So anyway, leave your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.